Hello, good evening, and welcome to the Fatback 4 podcast. 5 minutes late. Owen Conway is going to tell me more on me. With me tonight, I have got Keith, Seany, and Grizz, the A team, as we're now known, and you may have seen it across Twitter. Thanks to Ray Brady for that picture earlier. Tonight on the show, we're going to discuss. Obviously Liverpool 2, Sheffield United 1. VAR is still an absolute disgrace. Bobby Firmino's on the score sheet. Jota's scoring. Salah was denied a brilliant goal, and people are falling out of love with football as it stands now because it's getting ridiculous, isn't it? You can't even celebrate anymore. We'll get onto that a little bit later. We also have the book from The Athletic at the end of the storm to give away. Our last copy. William McClusker has won one. Aidan has won one. And we're going to give one away later on. I've asked Grizz a question just before we come on. He's given me an answer, and whoever can match that answer will win. It's got to do with his cricket career, which is
is that what you meant?
Yeah, it's about Grizz's cricket career. So you'll need some guessing later on.
One of my, if any of my schoolmates are in the chat, then they might know.
Oh yeah,
the answer. So you might get caught out here.
How many first-class centuries did Grizz get?
Something close to that.
Don't be lying. You didn't have mates in school.
He's too busy down the park under trees reading books. I'd blight. Let's get to it, lads. Let's get to it. Liverpool went into this game against Sheffield United after watching Man City drop points, hoping that Everton would, and he did. And of course, Villa, the best team in the world, were dispatched by Leeds on Friday night. So it was working out. Of course, United had drawn with Chelsea as well in an absolute turgid game of football, but it was working out on a nice weekend, even this early in the season, for Liverpool to put 3 points on the board, and get back to the way we usually are. Seany, I'm gonna come to you first because when you see those results materialising and you see the news coming through well in advance of the team announcement that Alisson could be back, the nerves seemed to set in for a lot, didn't they?
Yeah, it was going like a throwback to not quite last year because we ran away with it, but the year before when someone dropped points, you had to be on it straight away and put 2 on Man City because, look, I know you mentioned the host of other teams in the opening there, but we should really be only focused on City, in my opinion. I still think there's a lot being made about how strange this season is. Look, we're 6 games in. The table won't look normal until December. I heard Ryan Giggs talking about it on a Premier League show, and Patrice Evra said the exact same thing. He says we wouldn't really take any notice of the Premier League table until we knew we were finished the Champions League group stages, and then we kind of seen where we were. But yeah, pressure was definitely on after Man City again failed to dig one out, and then we go and put 2 on them yesterday with a grinder of a 3 points against Sheffield United, and it's good to see that we can still do that. Minus Virgil, because this seems to be the narrative now that they're trying to drum up as will Liverpool be as solid and as will the mentality be there without a leader like Virgil van Dijk at the back. And looking at last Wednesday's evidence and yesterday's evidence, the answer is early doors, but it's definitely yes.
Yeah, it is, and a grinding result is a very good way of putting it. I think if you are obviously you're watching, you're on YouTube, please if you haven't subscribed already, please subscribe. We're not far off 6,000 subscribers, and we'll do some sort of giveaway for that as well. So get us to 6,000, and then we'll give you a chance to win some stuff. We don't know what it is yet, but it's definitely not going to involve golf balls, so I can guarantee it. That's haunted me for a long time. Grizz, you said to me yesterday at one stage, very nervous, felt it was a huge game, even as the 6th league game of the season. You were like, no, this is absolutely massive. With the way things have fallen, Alisson coming back, a chance to get build on Ajax during the week, and when you look at the team, Grizz, everyone kind of knew from well out from, it wasn't the kind of case of 7 o'clock big surprise. Everyone kind of knew. Did the lineup make you more nervous, Grizz, or did it make that nervousness go away and make you a little bit more excited?
It was a mixture in the end. I know I text you. I'm very nervous, but it was a kind of. I think you misread the context, so it gives me a chance to.
There was none. You just said I'm nervous.
Yeah, but Keith, check this out, right? I text him I'm nervous. He didn't respond in the WhatsApp. He's responded now, like days later. right? So I'm going to give him context now. So I did text you that, but it was a good nervous kind of excitement.
Okay.
Yeah, mixture. It was a mixture of nerves, the usual jangling nerves before a big game, because I really felt, and I agree. I did say about the big game, I thought it was massive, Gav. I thought it was a throwback to. I know Shawnee says not last season, but for me it was where week upon week we'd see City falter, and then we'd play the day after or hours after, and the pressure would be on us to produce and hammer down that advantage. And often we wouldn't play brilliant football that week, but we'd make sure we'd find a way to win. And I just knew after Champions League, after the Merseyside derby, the week that we've had, hardly any training involved, I knew it's not going to be pretty. I knew we're not going to put on a show, so to speak. But I just wanted to see, as what, I can't remember who one of you said it, if we've got the character still and that hunger still to make sure we can do it regardless of all the adversity that we've come through. And that's why I just felt it was a huge win, Gav. I just wanted to make sure, because these are the type of wins that just really demoralize. As early as people say it is, I don't want to give a bollocks. The bigger the lead, all we've got to do is keep increasing this lead over City. That's my opinion as well. Exactly what Shawnee says. Forget all the pretenders. It's City and us again. And every time they mess up and we hammer that advantage hours or days afterwards, it kills them inside. And it strengthens our resolve. Now, our resolve, people have questioned, but my God, it showed yesterday.
It really did. James Doherty said Sheffield have more steel than the old factories they used to make them in. Great result from LFC. I think that's a very fair point. Let me see. Morbid Angel says, will you be talking about the links to Koundé, Kanate and Kabak for the January centre-back? We'll have a little chat about that later on before we finish, because Upamecano, I'm getting better at that. Upamecano has been
they get used to it
as well. Keith, the lineup, as everyone knows it now, but it was the shape more than anything else. You know, when news came out that Jota would play along with Mane, Salah, Firmino, everyone just shouted 4-2-3-1. I'm a bit torn on this, Keith, because it's definitely something to make the opposition think. You know, because they're all planning meticulously down to the last detail for Liverpool with a 4-3-3, and how do we stop this, and how do we stop that, and how do we nullify the fullbacks, and that helps us, and A, B, C, D, and E. And then a 4-2-3-1 has popped that shit, and it's like, what the fuck are they going to do here? Because they are committing an extra body. You know, Liverpool are committing an extra body from A forward. Most definitely forward, you know. Did you like it, Keith? Were you excited by it? Or some thought, are we panicking a bit here and changing tactic? What were you like before the game? Because it was quite obvious what way we were going to go when you seen the lineup.
Yeah, I was excited, to be honest. I felt maybe that we got a bit too predictable as the season went on last season, and teams were starting to look to nullify us. And we spoke about this before, you know, cut off the supply from the wings, and Liverpool were more or less done because the midfield wasn't the most creative. It wasn't maybe the most dynamic of midfields. It done its job. I'm a big fan of the midfield that won us the league. But teams are starting to say, right, if you can cut off, doubled up on Salah, Mane, and you can cut out Trent and Robertson, Liverpool are sort of stuck. Now, we've all said that THIAGO will be the huge help in that. But I think he just threw a little googly at them, and just to throw the cat among the pigeons, you know what I mean? Just to, as you said, they meticulously will prepare for 4-3-3. Bobby going to drop deep. Salah, Mane will be looking to go in. You know, not that it's predictable, but that's how they would have set up. The fact that we threw in the extra, we took off the three boys midweek. We put on the three other lads. It's not like we were, thrown in a real surprise. Putting in Jota in there, he's been in excellent form for club and country since he's come to us. So it was a good move, and to keep the four of them, it kept Sheffield United honest, because remember, they play an unorthodox formation as well. They're not a standard 4-3-3, 4-4-2 team either. They're the bleeding a weird bunch in a good way, unpredictable with their formation. So yeah, it was a good time to do it. Why not?
Graham Doyle says he felt we were a bit open in midfield. He wasn't mad on it. Is that Anthony O'Chill says, remember DT, how he said Arteta broke Klopp? Karma is a funny thing. Sean, you did say that AFTV was fairly amusing tonight before we come on. Don't be minding that DT fella. He's a fucking knobhead. Let me put it out there. He's an absolute star. What else would I want to say? Grizz is upsetting me now.
No, I love you. You're the best.
He is. He's a clown. Anyway, moving on, lads. As much as the 4-2-3-1, and Shawnee, I'll come to you first. As much as the 4-2-3-1, people it might take a little bit getting used to. Sheffield United probably needed a little time to get used to it as well, because we started off really, really, really well.
Yeah, like the opening minutes of the game was like typical tenacity. Liverpool getting in, slicing you open, options all over the park in the final third, just being everywhere, all over you, swarming like wasps. And then obviously we had the decision, and after the decision, we got a bit flat, but we bounced back. The thing I liked most about the formation change was the amount of second balls we were sweeping up in their final third. Like, Jota is a clone of Mane in so many ways, where you just see him sweeping up that loose ball all the time. You seem to always see him breaking with the ball into space. It's not a coincidence. I think it's a skill that he has. His reading of the game as a forward player is unbelievable. And even though I thought it was probably his worst game in a Liverpool shirt so far yesterday, he still affected the game. So that's a trait of our front three, or front four now, so to speak, that they can be absent in a game for 80, 85 minutes, and bang, they'll just have one moment and come alive. And Jota just fits us so perfectly. That's what the thing. It was a complete curveball for Chris Wilder, because I have to say one thing, and I give credit where it's due. British managers are always painted into the corner of being a Deutsch or a Moyes or anything like that. I can guarantee you, if Chris Wilder's name was Christoph Wildino or something, and he was from Spain or France, everyone would love him. He's a terrific coach, and he carries himself brilliantly, and his team play really good football. If Everton want a lesson on how to be tenacious and not go on like louts, that was a perfect performance. They disturbed us. They got in our faces. They weren't too dirty. They were physical. They weren't overly physical. They were brilliant, and we needed to be at it to get 3 points against the Sheffield team. And that's why people are saying the performance wasn't that good. It's not always going to be good. That's as good as Sheffield United will play in an away game this season. I'm nearly sure of it. They were absolutely superb. And I have to say, giving credit to the lads, we'll talk about the shape in the front, lads. The game on Wednesday was a complete different to the game yesterday for Firmino and Gomez in a way is, where Ajax will play it in front of you and they'll try pull you out of position and get in behind. But Sheffield, they were putting balls in, they were physical, they were dominating in the air, they were trying to bully us. And in the first half they did, and then there was a little switch in the second half that went, and then our boys were ultimately on it, bang, 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 flying into challenges with them. So they've passed the two very different type of tests so far, this back four, so to speak. And look, just a brilliant 3 points, no matter what way you look at it. I don't care about performances. I really don't, because it does not matter at this stage of the season. It was the same last year. We were getting the results and people were saying, but we're playing shit. It does not matter. It's points on the board. That's all that matters in this run.
Excellent.
It is points that matters, and it even I couldn't agree with you more on it, because we're in a cycle now, and I said something to you, Shawnee, and you didn't agree with it yesterday. Liverpool are trying to find a groove, and what I mean by that is, the Virgil van Dijk stuff would have knocked them. It would have knocked them in a big way.
Absolutely.
No matter how good the side is, and we were on here last week, and you were telling people, look, imagine going in and telling Klopp or anybody else that, Virgil's gone, what are we going to do? These are top end players, but it will have knocked him because he has such stature. it is going to take a little while for them to get over the fact that Virgil van Dijk, who hasn't missed a bleeding league game in 3 years or something, you know what I mean? Or whatever. It's about 3 years since he signed. It is 3 years since he signed with Liverpool, and well, just shy of it. And it is going to take them a little while to get in a groove. And I don't mean like even results wise. I just mean the way they play and just putting that aside. It's going to take a little while for them to put it aside. And when they find that groove, I've said it to you, Seany, and I've said it to you lads, you lads as well. Nobody stops Liverpool winning this league if they get back in that groove. Yeah. And I genuinely think because no one else, City don't have the go for it, and the rest don't have the quality or the consistency. So with Liverpool, I just want us. It's going to be very interesting between now and the next international break. Just the results and the performance is getting better and better, and then you go, yeah, we're over it.
It's just that would have been a good punch to a lot of the rivals waiting on their downfall yesterday and all these. I seen the Independent wrote a piece today saying that Liverpool look vulnerable without Van Dijk. Well, we've won both games, and it would have been 2 clean sheets only for an atrocious decision, which I'm sure we'll get into. So narratives will be created. But do you know what I love about this team? And I love the whole mentality monsters thing. And it's easy to be a mentality monster when everything is going your way. About being a mentality monster when everything is going quite the contrary, quite the opposite. That's when mentality comes into it. And yesterday proved, yes, these are mentality monsters. That these lads, as a unit, do not get affected in game or out of game by what goes on outside, what's said outside, or even what happens during a game. They recover. It takes them a couple of minutes, and they get back in. You seen them yesterday after the decision. They just said, "Right, fuck it, we'll get on it. We'll get back on the ball, and we'll get this result." They don't down tools and say, "Oh yeah, we're getting done here again by VAR." No, they have a go. It was the same at Goodison. No, they had a go. They went and have a go. That's mentality, Gav. That's when things aren't going well and when the chips are down, that's when it counts. Anyone can be in a winning team when you're winning 15, 16 games in a row and you're just rolling teams over. But to get out of difficult moments, City haven't won 3 games in a row in 2 years now. And I was watching that game yesterday thinking, do you know what? This will be fucking massive if they get a winner here in the last 10 minutes. And they couldn't. It's just not there. And Joe Cole made a point on BT saying, when you're 3 or 4 years with the same coach and you've been down the victory walk 2 or 3 times and you know you need to dig in last 10 minutes, you know you're going to need to be doing it most weeks of the season. It's just not there. The fire's not in the belly.
You've heard all the instructions so many times.
That's exactly. It's not computing with them. But we're here, lads. You seen yesterday, they dig in and they just get the 3 points. And it's just, it was unbelievable to see even players like Jota. You could tell that he's buying into the winning side of things already. So, yeah, although Virgil is a massive miss around the club, 7 days a week, not just on a match day, because you need to understand that in the training ground, he's not going to be there either. But these lads are ready to go. And you can see Hendo cheering Fabinho and all out, like they're still at each other's necks. It's just brilliant. Yesterday was brilliant. It's a statement without being too loud, if you ask me.
Grizz, Seany talks there about, you know, it would have been 2 games, 1 without Virgil van Dijk and 2 clean sheets, bar the decision. And we'll get onto that decision in a little minute. But I want to talk to you about the centre halves because Seany's right. It's, you know, Ajax is a game where you have to hold your line properly and don't get dragged out of position and make sure no one's getting in around you. Whereas this one yesterday was balls down the side, balls up directly on top of your head. You know, they were trying to get around. They were literally trying to go over the top of us at times. And I don't think Fabinho was great. I'm going to hold my hands up and say that. I don't think he was great. It was probably a 6.5, 7 out of 10 performance. And that's okay. You know, he's not a centre half. He's still learning there. I thought Joe Gomez was very, very good. But what do you think that does for that centre-half partnership, Grizz? Because I think it's not a pretty win, but it's the perfect way to win and learn those lessons along the way. I think it's a big learning curve for them too yesterday.
I knew it would be. It was perfect, spot on. Everything that you guys have said, I've been nodding away because it's bang on. You know, we hate agreeing, but it's absolutely... What I found yesterday was it showed that we were playing... a new formation, and it showed, but we had the better players, and they were playing a formation that they've played all their lives, and they've had a week to prepare, and it showed. But their players were inferior to us. So that's what made the match so intriguing. So you could tell it was a formation change. Well, it was a formation change, and it showed. But our players were actually very, very bright. Our front four in that first 15, 20 minutes looked like it was gonna be how much we're gonna win this by, not sort of, are we gonna win this? I thought Jota was slightly, the issue I had in my head was like, how are we gonna set up? We talked about Bobby gonna play in that, if Bobby plays in that withdrawn role with another one through the center, whether it's Mane or Mo or even Jota, it will bring Bobby alive. I actually thought it was one of Bobby's best games. Aside from the goal, his touch was assured. He felt confident. He was playing in his position that he's made his name before he came to Liverpool. But I knew the test would be for our centre backs in this game. I knew it. Yeah, exactly. Ajax play in front of you. Ajax play pre-football triangles. You've got to be on your toes and all that. This was going to be a war. That fellow up front, Oli Bernie, whatever, he's an absolute beast in the air. He won every single ball, but we had to be clever and smart around it. Hendo did have a go at Fabinho. Hendo had a go at Fabinho, at Gini at times, because the goal did knock us. The incident did knock us. Up until then, even though it was a new formation and we were finding our feet, we were slowly working our way into a rhythm, into a groove, as you say, your words. But that's because our players were actually playing well. It was just the system wasn't helping us. It was a new system and we're getting used to it, where you could see their one was set in stone. Every player knew what he was doing. Ours were a bit unsure, but it's natural. I thought Gomez was superb, Gav. We've asked Gomez the question. We've asked him to stand up, not only in terms of a player, but in terms of a leader, in terms of that Virgil, in terms of the leader of the back four. I just thought it was a stunning performance from the kid. And I'm going to keep calling him kid because we keep forgetting he's 23.
Exactly.
For me, the best 23-year-old centre-back in world football at this level. Who's playing at this level week in, week out?
But Grizz, I'm going to dig you out here.
Liverpool?
Yes.
I'm going to dig you out here. You had him out of the team.
No,
you had him out of the team.
No,
you had him out of the team for Fabinho. 90% of the people I'm looking at in the chat here are digging him out, saying he wasn't good enough after a couple of subpar performances, Project Restart, and the start of the season was saying he wasn't good enough. Now, I'm just going to say something here. He's played 2 games and he's been excellent. He's going to have bad games. Yeah. So, just bear with him. He's a kid learning his trade. He's not a top...
I'm going to defend myself. I'm going to defend myself. I'm going to say I never had him out the team and out the club. I said he just needs a little break, because Fabinho was very able to go next to VVD, and so Fabinho has shown
that's not true. What you said was in big games you will have Fabinho in the team ahead of Joe Gomez. Yes, you did. Yes, you did. 100% you did.
100% I did it. You asked me for a specific game, and I said
Van Dijk wasn't injured at this stage, so if
exactly. So the narrative was Gomez needs to pick it up. And
yeah, but what I'm saying is, I'm fair play to you, but let's try be rational here with the kid, because he is a kid. He's 23. He's learning his trade. So when he has a bad game, don't be turning around and buying into the narrative that Van Dijk would have won that, because people were doing that last week. People were doing that after saying Van Dijk would have got up and beaten what's his name to the ball, Calvert-Lewin. When actually Joe Gomez comes on and has a brilliant game at Goodison. And people just point the fingers. Well, because I'm telling you, not if last week had been a 0-0 and yesterday had been a 1-0, they would have been digging Gomez and Fabinho out. They would have been digging Fabinho out for giving the ball away. So we need to be rational here when it comes to it. So that's all I'm saying. And people, you had the people last week saying, "Oh, get Upamecano." Upamecano is excellent. But I'm going to tell you something now. There's not a world-class 23-year-old centre-half anywhere in world football. There's not a world-class 24 or 25-year-old centre-half anywhere in world football. So you need to be careful, because centre halves they're similar to goalkeepers. They're not developed until they're 28. You need to play football, you need to take your licks, and you need to get knocked around the place to understand what it is to be a top class centre back. Gomez has literally all of the attributes. He's currently now England's best centre back.
He'll have
simple as that.
The attribute he's missing, and I'll let you jump in now, Grizz. The attribute he's missing is leadership. That's what he's missing. And
Well,
this will be the making of him.
I said
I put it
responsibility.
down there now. This
Yeah.
injury to Virgil van Dijk will be the making of Joe Gomez, because I'll tell you something. As good as Fabinho is, okay, he's a centre midfielder. Okay, he has played defensively. He has played at right back. He's probably done the odd game at centre half for Monaco or whoever he's been with, but he's predominantly a centre midfielder, and it takes time to settle into, especially to a backline the way we play it. Joe Gomez is the main centre half of Liverpool Football Club right now, because he's the one that's least injured. He has the most potential out of everyone that's there right now, and he is going to be told, I think, by the club, listen, you're going to have to lead this now. You are going to have to lead this back four until the middle of May. It's as simple as that. And I think that will be the making of him.
Gav, do you remember how many shouts there was from fans and other fans and media like that he's been babysat by Virgil? And of course that was bullshit, because you got to be your own man. You got to be good enough to play enough next to Virgil and for Liverpool. But what I said at the time was, there's nothing wrong with having a break, because he is a kid. I take everything what Shawnee said on board, and I accept. I said that. I said, but I never wrote him off. What I said, he sometimes, because he's 23-year-old, and for those reasons, and that's the rational way of looking at it, is when you've got someone like Fabinho or Matip alongside, ready to step in, then there's no harm in putting Joe Gomez out of the firing line because he was poor. Let's not say he wasn't poor. Right?
No, he was.
Oh, he was.
Yeah, he was poor. But he's a kid. He's 23 years old. He's
Exactly.
and he's going to have another patch. He's going to have another
100%.
patch. But the point is, I was trying to make at the time was, we're at this level now, and we've got such a quality squad now in certain areas. And I truly believe, and I said it and I'll say it again, of course, the Virgil incident and the injury is freak. But what I was saying was, we've got the 4 best centre-backs in the Premier League, and probably the best in strength and depth we've had in years. And I include Gomez, Matip, Fabinho, and Virgil in that. So we have got a chance to rotate and rest. But
another one. Trent is going to be the same. Trent is still as good as Trent is going forward, and the crossfield balls and his range of passing.
But just to finish off on the Gomez, and we probably want to move on. I think you're right, Gav. I think you're spot on in terms of the responsibility. And I think Klopp's had a word with, to me, it looks like Klopp's had a word with everyone on an individual basis and told them, you fuckers have got to step up now. You fuckers have got to take on more responsibility. And I saw the same in Mo Salah's game. I saw the same in Trent's game. I saw maturity in Trent's game. He's still finding his form. He's still not flying, but he's getting better. Yeah. You see, more focused. I saw the whole team, like Klopp's had to pull them aside and one-on-one had a word with them. And the most that's flourishing at the moment of that one-on-one session, it seems, is Joe Gomez, because that responsibility and that maturity is, I won't say maturity yet because that's jumping the gun because he's young, but the responsibility that's been given to him, he's shown it in amazing colours in his last couple of games.
Keith, the back, Joe Gomez and Fabinho, to me, is your centre-half partnership for the rest of the season. Now, we will get on to links to other centre-halves in a bit, but as things stand, I think that's their centre-half partnership, because if I'm Jurgen Klopp, I'm just sick of Matip now. Sick of him. You know, he plays the derby.
Relax.
He plays the derby. What?
Relax, leave him alone.
No, I'm sick of him. He plays the derby last season. He doesn't play the derby till this season. Then he can't play. You know, this is getting stupid at this stage. Do you think that was a good game, Keith, for them to learn about each other, about to play together in different situations, and to come out with a win? Most importantly, to say, yeah, privately, the probably two of them are probably saying we were okay, we can do much better, but we got the 3 points and build on it.
Yeah, it's all about building a relationship, building a rapport, and they know there's only 3 of them there for the foreseeable future. Now, I understand what you're saying about Klopp maybe being pissed off with Matip's fitness record, but ability-wise, I think Matip still has a lot to offer. Now, if you've had a long layoff, and you might correct me if I'm wrong, a lot of players, when they come back, then pick up a little strain or whatever, and it sort of knocks them back a little bit. So Matip could be okay. It might just be a case of a couple of weeks out, and then he'll force his way back in. And if he can keep fitness, Fabinho goes back into midfield. We don't know. I agree with Grizz. I think the options are not as bad as everyone's making out. And I think a big thing behind that is the goalkeeper. And I'm sure we'll come on to Alisson. But when Adrian was in there, he's breathing panic into everyone in front of him. Now, Joe Gomez, we've said, needs to take on a leadership role. And if you have Jurgen Klopp telling you, listen, it's time for you to lead this defence, you know, these players will run through brick walls for Jurgen Klopp. And if he's telling you he wants you to be the leader, I'm sure Gomez is delighted with that and feels 10 foot tall. But the fact that they've Alisson back behind them will give them that assuredness as well. It'll give them that safety blanket. Whether he's, you know, I think when he comes back from injury, I think he takes a bit of time to get back up to the speed of things. But the fact that, and I hate digging out Adrian, but the fact that it's not Adrian behind, you saw Gomez Adrian against Ajax when he runs into him and Gomez is like, what the fuck are you doing here? That'll make a big difference. That'll give them the solidity. That'll give them the sort of assurance that they need, that they can play and that they can go and play their own game. Now, I think it will be Fabinho. I think it will be Fabinho over Matip beside Gomez for the foreseeable future until Matip can sort of prove his fitness. But whether they bring someone in or not, I don't know. In January, they might just go with what they have.
We'll talk about that in a little bit. Free World says ability is pointless if you're not available constantly. I think it's a very fair point. Shawnee, I want to go on to VAR, our favourite subject. And, you know, 13 or so minutes into the game, Fabinho throws in a tackle on McBurney. It looks like a good tackle. Edge of the box, good tackle. Ref gives a free, goes to VAR, and despite mixed kind of reports on this since the game is finished, it looks like VAR didn't check if it was actually a foul. Just checked. I don't think it can.
I don't think it can. I think that's a fundamental flaw with it.
Because it's not a clear and obvious thing. Could it be something?
No, because I had a look at it today, and in the end, it makes sense as to why the decision was given. Right, so. Okay. They'll use VAR for serious foul play, believe it or not. Apparently. Apparently they'll review serious foul play, offsides, clear and obvious errors regarding offside, or a penalty decision. And that's it. So they won't do it for free kicks, because I think the thinking behind, if they were using VAR for free kicks, they'll be literally looking at screens every 2 minutes if there's a break of a ball in midfield and someone gets clipped.
So can I ask?
So what happened was?
Yeah, okay, go on.
Based on the report, Mike Dean blew for a free.
Mm-hmm.
They looked back on VAR and said that might be inside the area.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously they could look at that and say, do you know what, Mike, that might not be a foul, but do you know what? You're at the blown for a foul, so I'm just going to let you know whether this is going to be a free kick or a penalty. And they gave the penalty because his foot was on the line, and that's the rules. So they hadn't got the authority in Stockley Park to turn around and say to Mike Dean, do you know what, Mike, Fabinho's actually got the ball there. That's not a foul. They can't do that.
But you've just said to me that a clear and obvious error with regards to penalties. When they go to VAR and they make that a penalty, then should you not have the authority to go, Mike, that's a penalty, but it's actually in the box, Mike, but it's wrong?
No, because
it's not clear and obvious.
Okay.
Why is it not clear and obvious?
Well, because I think you could get, it depends who you support, Keith, one of them things. Now, I think Fabinho gets the ball.
Yeah.
But if you might ask 10 people and 2 people might tell you, well, he gets the man first. I thought he got the ball. They were never going to overrule Mike Dean there, Gav. Yeah. And that's the thing. That's the problem.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very similar to the cricket, bringing it back to cricket. When as you do. When the umpire's decision, when it's umpire's call. So basically what it means is whatever the umpire is given as a call before it goes to the monitor. So it has to be clear and obvious. It's very similar thinking like that. It has to be proved to be clear and obvious. If it's, as we're deciding, as we're thinking.
Like it would literally have to be 90%, Gav.
stay with the ref decision. Now, if he made the opposite, if he didn't give the free kick and sort of, if he didn't give the foul and sort of, no, actually, because he did give the foul, because that's the only way it would have gone to monitor. So it makes my point mute. My second one. Yeah. But the first, my point is it stays with the referee's decision unless it's clear and obvious.
They were never going to overrule him, Gavin, and that's another problem. That's one of the issues with VAR is that they could have even said to him, "Go and have a look on the monitor." Yeah. So, like you said, if he says, "Go and have a look on the monitor," and then you can decide whether that's a penalty or not, because he blew for a free kick. He knew nothing about that being a penalty. He didn't point to the spot, so he just blew for a free kick. So they say, "Well, Mike, that's actually a penalty. Have a look at that and see if you think it was a foul again." But they wouldn't do that because that's overruling him. And this is the issue. We can't hear what they're talking about. So we're all in the dark. Like, you could see our players like going, "What is going on here?" You can even see some of the Sheffield players going, "What, he's giving a penalty?"
Yeah.
Like, we're going to be, like, it's just,
do you not think they took too long to, what the issue I have with it is they're looking so hard to find a problem.
Look, the thing is, when you look for
the fraction is fucking last stud is on the line, so let's make it a penalty. The ball's outside the box, the connection is outside the box, but a guy here is on the line. Let's give a penalty.
Yeah, Abdullah Mohammed says not a problem. He made the call and it was a 50-50 call.
Yeah,
can't fault the call too much. Our VAR decided. I'm getting a bit tetchy over this clear and obvious thing, because that's a very broad statement to make. Who decides if it's clear and who decides if it's obvious? What scale are we going on here? You know, Seany, you picked on something there, and I agree. He gives a free kick. He gives a free kick, and it goes to VAR because VAR are in his ear going, "Hold on, we need to look at this because it could be a penalty, right? It could be on the line." I don't see a problem in them saying, "No, don't get me wrong. It could still go against Liverpool, and that you hold your hands up and go, fair enough, they've gone through a process, that's fine." But I can't understand why they can't, and I don't mean this just for Liverpool, I mean that for anyone. Why can't he just say, "Mike, that's actually on the line. It's a penalty if there's a foul there, but you might want to have a look at this on the screen because he does get the ball. What do you think?" Mike Dean goes to the screen, looks at it and goes, "Oh, he did get the fucking ball. Right, it's not a penalty." Or, "He did get the ball, but he kind of caught him with the trailing leg. I'm still giving the penalty." And then you know the process is being walked through.
Yeah, exactly. There was a clear get out of jail free card there for a bad decision from Mike Dean yesterday. Had they just told him to look at the monitor.
Yeah, but guys, this is where we're falling behind Europe, where they do that.
Yeah.
This is the only difference at the moment, and this is why, Gav, I know, me and you had a massive row about it a couple of weeks ago, but this is where it will get better when they realize that we're still behind in the sort of running of the VAR and how we go about making these decisions and protocols. Because you're absolutely right. There should be a rule in place, or there should be rules in place where the referee says, where the VAR fella has the authority. Because at the moment, Sean is right. He hasn't. They're literally fucking jobs worths, right? No, this is what I've got to look at.
This is where you can give the clubs power. You could give each team one challenge per game. So Klopp could have called a challenge there yesterday for Mike Dean to review it on the monitor. So therefore, this is where the accountability comes into this, right? So if Klopp goes yesterday, right, say for instance in the NFL, they throw a flag on the pitch, all right? Mm-hmm. And then what will happen is the game will stop and the officials will go and have a look at it on the monitors, right? So Klopp sees that foul happens, sees the decisions given, Klopp bangs so that means Mike Dean has to go over and look at the monitor, right? Yeah. So Mike Dean looks at the monitor. If he can give the decision based on what he sees, well, that's what he really thinks. And he's the one that's 100% making that decision. So he's being accountable for what happens next in the game. And I think
that might be something like cricket. Works. Again, like cricket, where you have 3 appeals, a game, or an innings, you have 2
3 appeals are probably too much because the fucking games will be going on forever. But
you have to take the weekend off, walkie.
No, just give them a appeal where you think, wow, that's a crazy call.
Yeah, because I think they've given the refs too much power in this instance when games just need to be managed. That's just it. Like, they're being over-policed now. It's fucking ridiculous. Like every time
Look,
you see,
when that
I
incident
watched
happened, did any of us think it's ever going to be a penalty when that incident took place first live? My initial reaction was,
no,
you didn't have to lunge in there, but I never dreamt it would be a penalty.
When he gave the free, and then they checked it and it was on the line, I thought, yeah, he is given the penalty. But then my immediate process, my thoughts always on this was, and I'm not a fan of VAR, people know that. Probably not the technology, just the way it functions and the process of it. But immediately I was thinking there has to be a process here where they not just, can you check that line and forget everything else, forget all the context around it. If he checks it and goes, it's on the line, Mike, but it looks like a good tackle, have a look at the screen. And people, listen, you don't need them mic'd up that way then, because people know he's being told he's going to look on the screen, you know what I mean? And then he's able to go to the captain and go, listen, it was on the line, I was actually given a free kick, they've changed it to a penalty, but maybe look at the monitor, I don't think it is now, it's a drop ball. And everyone knows then.
I watched the Clasico yesterday, and it was the first time in a game where I've seen attacking players blatantly trying to flick the ball off players' hands around the box. Like, it's starting. Yeah. It's starting. And that literally, Vinicius done it, Rodrigo done it a couple of times. They're blatantly flicking the ball up towards a player's midriff to his hands.
Yeah, but they've changed that now.
The hands up in the air in Spain.
For us, they've changed that now. It's
just like, I know you said you're going to do a segment on the end of it, and I'm sure you will. It's just shite. It's crap. Yeah. VAR has lent nothing to the game in terms of being fair or even as a spectacle. It's done nothing for the game at the moment. And at the start, I was kind of like, do you know what? Maybe we need it, but it's just shite.
The idea of VAR is excellent, but the implementation everywhere, especially in England, is fucking dirt. It's
people don't want them mic'd up. People don't want them mic'd up because you go, you hear all this sort of language and stuff. Listen, if a referee has a microphone and an earpiece, all he has to do is step away from players and go, everyone get away from me, I'll just start throwing red cards out, right? Yeah. It'll stop them straight away. And he goes off and he presses the button and he says, right, this is what's happening. Everyone on the TV can hear it, right? And if it's explained, everyone on the TV goes, grand, right? And if he goes to the screen and does something, grand. And then he comes back and he tells the two captains what's going on. Everybody knows what's going on then, right? There's no language. Everybody on the TV knows what's happened. Everything. Because listen, the money makes this game go round, and money makes this game go round because people are watching. So you have to, as much as 22 players on the pitch and managers and stuff like that, the people watching need to know as well. So listen, this is going to rumble on forever, but we'll have to wait and see, right? I want to go through the couple of goals and stuff like that before we finish up. We're 40 odd minutes in. But we do have people are asking about Maguire's tackle on Azpilicueta yesterday. Not tackle, attempted header. It's a penalty all day long. It's a penalty all day long. He's puts before he even jumps, goes into a motion of a jump. He puts his two arms around him, leans down on top of him, and then pulls him back. It's a penalty. Having said that, there was one at the other end as well. I think Reece James might have had a hold of Harry Maguire, which easily could have been a penalty as well. But I want to move on to the good bits for Liverpool. Let's be honest about it. And before I do, we have one of these books to give away at the end of the storm from The Athletic, featuring James Pearce, Oliver Kay, Simon Hughes, and a lot more people. It's a brilliant book. I've read the vast majority of it now, and I have to say it's absolutely excellent. We've given 2 away already, but we've 1 more to give away. And here's the question. Now, lads, the 4 of us are going to have to watch the comments to see if the right answer comes in. I'm going to tell you all the right answer in the private chat that we have. But here's the question. In cricket, Grizz Khan was a decent batter by all accounts. Can you tell me what his highest run score was? Right, his highest run score. Now, the lads in the private chat, I'm going to tell them the actual answer. They have the answer there now in front of them. So the first lad to get the right one is correct. Kieran B says a duck. Makar says 0. It's a bit higher than that.
But Keith laughed. I didn't like Keith's reaction to you putting that in the private chat. Like, why did you laugh there? That's a serious score.
No, listen, don't give anything away.
Player.
Don't give anything away.
That's what I'm going to say.
There's loads coming in there.
And I was a serious player.
There's loads coming in.
I'm thinking of something else. Sorry, no.
Oh, okay. Fair enough.
Yeah,
well, there's loads coming in there. 127, 254.
Someone's wow. Okay, you got to remember.
Shut up, don't say anything. 77, 154, 56, 1, 122, 77. No, they're all wrong so far.
254.
Well, Gav, I don't know if you can see it. Someone's near enough got it.
Near enough got it.
Yeah. I told you there must be someone.
Oh yes, there is one. There is a person that's one out there. One out, one away. Yeah.
One out.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah. Absolutely. So listen, we let them go. We let them go through, and well, the one person's answering, the rest of us can keep a look at it. But I want to get on to the good stuff. And Keith,
This is the good.
But this is good. Just guessing Grizz's batting score. Keith, Firmino scores. Liverpool, after being behind on 13 minutes, they equalise on 41, I think, if I remember right. And they kind of lose their way, I feel, after that decision's given and the goal and everything else, and it goes on, but they gradually get themselves back into it. And I have to be honest with you, Keith, if I could pick one fella to score yesterday, it was Roberto Firmino. He needs a goal. The team need him to score a goal for me. And I didn't want to get into half-time 1-0 because it only heightens Sheffield United's confidence in this. But it's not the most glamorous of goals, Keith, but it's one. He's off the mark and he gets his goal and it gets us back on level terms before half-time. I was delighted with you.
Yeah, I was chuffed. I'm a huge Bobby fan, and I know he gets a lot of stick for not scoring. I think he's played okay the last while without getting the goals, but people will judge him for not scoring. And then he does get a goal, and people say, "Oh, yeah, but he didn't play great." You can't seem to win. It was a scruffy goal. Well, no, it was a scruffy finish, but the goal itself, like Henderson put in a great ball, good header by Mane, and then Bobby's in the right place. It's all about being in the right place. But something that I'm sure we'll come on to later on, you don't want to celebrate the goals because you're looking saying, is this shit going to be ruled out or what? And then you have to look back and you're happy it goes in and you're just delighted. Delighted for Bobby that he got that.
Yeah, absolutely thrilled. Has anybody got it yet, Chris?
Yeah, they've got it so they can stop the guessing. Bloody yeah, it's all numbers. Numbers confuse me. The chat confusing, man. Someone's got it and I've made a note of it, whoever it is.
Oh, you've made a note, so we tell them at the end. Or do you want to
so
tell
can
them
you
now?
stop the guessing now? Yeah.
Stop the guessing. All them numbers. Chris is
all
fucking
done.
abacus is on fire.
Hell,
trying to
wow.
work them all out. Who got it? Go on, tell us who got it.
Rajiv Kumar, my man.
Right,
Must
Rajiv
know
Kumar.
me. Yeah, he's got the score. He's got the exact number. Well done.
Where did he? I didn't even see him getting that. And I was trying
Oh, I
to keep
saw
my
it.
best
I saw it. I looked out.
Okay.
Yeah, he got it.
Right.
Do you want to tell them?
Yeah, you tell them.
Yeah, 142 magnificent innings.
Yeah.
On a hot
What
summer's
game?
day.
What game was it?
Oh, it was just a league game against another school. Langdon High School against Langdon High School. Very posh school. You got to remember, I used to go to an inner city school, just in case anyone didn't guess. We played Langdon High School. Very posh. Had all the kits, had all their own ground. And we went there and smashed them to bits. We had the old Walkmans in our ears. Do you remember the old Walkmans? Yeah.
The orange.
Oh yeah. We went there and smashed them to bits. And your man Grizz made 142 smashing innings. Yeah, that's everyone remembers that, and obviously Rajiv does, so he's got it. Well done, Rajiv.
I can't even see Rajiv's 142 guess there, to be honest with you.
I'm sorry, he's got it.
I must think you're Sachin Tendulkar or something, smashing blading balls all over the park.
I tell you, man, they had to put sort of some spectators outside the fence because I kept clearing it and the ball, someone needs to collect the ball. I'm telling you, man, I was clearing those fences. I was very, I was a very attacking batsman back in the day. I've calmed down now.
Thousands wouldn't believe you, but I do.
No, I know you do. Yeah, I'm a serious man. There's no smiling on my face. I'm serious.
People want to know. People want to know there. People want to know there if it's left or right-handed batsman.
I'm a right-hand batsman, man. Yeah, always right-handed.
Do you prefer the fast bowler or the spin ball? How did you play?
Yeah, it's the faster they come, the further they go. That was my motto.
You that leverage to get it over the boundary wall.
That was my motto. The faster you're gonna come at me, the further you're gonna go, mate. So yeah.
What did you have for lunch that day, Grizz?
You know what? Before a game of cricket, I used to fast on it before.
Double decker and a packet of King.
No, just Lucasade back in the day. No, Lucasade. Honestly, like the original Lucasade. I used to have a bottle of Lucasade, and that's what I used to drink during my innings.
Lucasade poured over pasta.
But anyway, well done, Rajiv. So
still can't see Rajiv's guess of 142, but I'm not even going to keep thinking. I think Grizz is just messing with me now.
No, he's got it. He's replying, so he's accepted it.
Okay, Rajiv, if you can send us an email right now to lfcdaytrippers@gmail.com, I can get your address off you, and I can get you lined up with that book along with the other 2 winners. Right, the good stuff. We get to half time. We're 1-1, and Liverpool come out the second half, and they're going for these 3 points now. Seany, I want to touch on something, and it's the Mo Salah disallowed goal, because if that goes in, oh, what a fucking goal, Seany.
Yeah, it's just like typical finish we've come to expect from Mo Salah. These mad ones out of nowhere, like the one against Everton, the one against Leeds, like it's Robbie Fowler levels of predatory instinct around the box. It was unbelievable. And if you look at their centre half and you look at Enda Stevens, when the ball ends up in the back of the net, you can see them putting their hand on their head going, what the fuck? Like, how has he managed that? Just, in fairness, he was offside. He was offside. It wasn't even close. Like, it was incredible. Yeah, but I didn't celebrate it, Gav. I just sat there, like, you know what I mean? I didn't get excited about it, but it was unbelievable. Normally, the whistle goes and the keeper stops, but like Ramsdale was still in the game and he was completely taken out of it. It was unbelievable. It was just an outrageous bit of skill that we've come to expect from Mo at the moment. Like, he just seems to be ridiculous when he has 0 time to think.
Exactly. I was going to say that when he doesn't have time to think, it's like 2 different players, isn't it? When he's instinctively hitting something or having to do it, he does no one better in the league. But when he's thinking about it, Jesus Christ, it's ridiculous how not off the boil he is, but how different the player he is. You know, doesn't have that sort of ruthlessness that, you know, Messi and Ronaldo just plundering goals. It's not a disrespect to Mo, but as you said there, Seany, when it just happens like that and he has to do it, there's no one better than him.
It's do you know what? I get the feeling, do you know what plays them offside? And obviously the linesman and the defensive line. But if you watch Mane makes a run, a very similar to run to Salah, and I think the defender cops him, and it makes the defender stop and step out trying to catch Salah. Whereas I think if Mane hadn't made that run, I think the defender would have kept drifting back and would have probably played Salah onside. But the touch is just sublime, and the finish is so fucking good. And you're like, oh. And Grizz, I thought you were going off there to get your bat, the signed bat from the day you hit 142. But yeah, clearly not. But the one thing I will say about it is when that goal goes in from Salah and it's disallowed, and you're like, oh, it's offside. I don't believe this. Did you get a feeling of, oh, could it be one of those nights? Didn't last that long, the feeling. But did you get, because I did, I'm going to be honest with you.
Yeah, I hated that. I hate that feeling in that first 45 minutes. I hated it. I was just thinking, what is going on here? It was just sort of a small sample of the whole season, not just for us, but everyone. It was weird. The feeling was, what is going on? Am I enjoying this? I genuinely, all the excitement and the nervousness I was talking about before the game kind of just evaporated. Even when we scored, I didn't celebrate. I know me and Seany were talking about it in the WhatsApp before, but I didn't. I didn't celebrate any goal. I was sat there numb. Even that goal, I knew straight away, you know, it's going to be offside, because they'll even if it's not offside, they'll draw a line and make it offside. Bollocks like that. I thought Salah was electric yesterday. He didn't score, and that's a shame because he was my captain in the fantasy league. But apart from that, he was electric, Gav and lads. I thought his play up front. I thought his turns. I thought the one where he turned.
He was giving it away a little bit easy though at times, Grizz. I will say that.
But listen, when you're Mo Salah, and you're playing up front through the middle against 3 massive, humongous centre halves, you know, sometimes you're going to try things and you're going to give the ball away. I thought overall the strength he showed, and he's got this awareness of the goal. And, you know, I know he missed a couple of chances, but the way he makes the chances for himself. And I always say, when Salah's in the mood to also be a creative spark, because let's face it, sometimes he just wants to score, and that's fine. But when he's in the mood to be a playmaker as well, I tell you, he's as good as anything in world football as a playmaker as well.
Someone's going to get ripped in the next few weeks.
Man, I tell you, and Mane, you know, we haven't even discussed Mane. We've discussed Jota, and all 3 of them were relentless, absolutely, our strikers, our forwards are relentless. They never, because Mane didn't have a good start. Mane had a few runs, this and that, and he was losing the ball a couple of times as well. But he's relentless. His energy levels and Emo, yeah. And as a result, Bobby became alive. This is why I kept harping on about if we're going to play this system, Bobby's got to retreat and let them three, wherever three it is, and wherever they play, they can interchange and cause havoc. It just so happens that it seemed like we haven't had much time on the training ground to actually play this system. But if we do, I genuinely think the next team we play this against is going to get it hard. It may be West Ham next week. Let's see if we add Thiago to that mix, and wow, you're fire. I'm telling you, you're taking
When you look at that game yesterday, I was just thinking all we need is a Thiago to just grab a hold of this now. Because in fairness, I thought Hendo was good yesterday. I thought Genie struggled. But someone like them boys running, making runs, and
Thiago punching holes all over the place.
Thiago's going to hit to the player you least expect.
Lads, Genie's so frustrating, though. I'm telling you, because
Genie looks tired again.
On the ball, he's very conservative, and that's the way I'm going to say it about his passing on the ball. But he's an absolute machine off the ball, and this is it. This is what the dilemma is, and this is what bugs most LFC fans. Of course, there's absolute fans of Genie, but the slight critics of Genie are he's too conservative, Gav, on the ball. He's and maybe we just got a taster of Thiago, and we're just dying to just put Thiago in there.
I don't think there's a hope he plays a 4-2-3-1 with Thiago. I think he only does that yesterday because Thiago's not available.
Why?
Why? Because I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why. Because when Thiago comes back, our midfield as a three suffocate teams. Absolutely suffocate them. And the way they suffocate them is they go out and they literally wait for the trigger, and they go and they make sure they absolutely hassle it until you give it back.
But why can't Thiago play in a two behind the tree?
I'll tell you why. Because I think they will look to suffocate teams, and Thiago will be the outball. And with Thiago at the outball, people would say, well, they can smother us and they get it back, but what creativity do you have? It's actually a slight against Liverpool. It's not really real. But what I would say... But what I will say is
the exact same job Genie does yesterday, but more quality on the ball. There's no reason why they can't play that system with him in the two.
I don't think they do it two. I think they do it three. I think in the perfect scenario it would be Fabinho, Thiago, and Henderson. Henderson is pivotal in a three on that right hand side for so many reasons that we've gone over before. But for me, teams, you've seen it, we've said it. Teams work out this 4-2-3 and they go, right, stop Trent and stop Robbo, and you can stop Trent and Robbo all day, but if you're going to give this fella any room within 50 yards of your goal, you're in serious fucking danger. And that changes the whole dynamic of the tree. We don't need to change formation. It's the dynamic of the team that we need to change. And trust me, if Liverpool manage to even if he can play it, but I just don't think they will. I don't think that'll be their first choice. Right, maybe saying not a chance of playing is a bit too much, but I think if Thiago was fit, he would.
I think it's his role in the two. That's my personal.
I think he plays off one side in the tree, and I think Liverpool look to suffocate teams. But instead of people thinking it's a conventional and workmanlike midfield, it's a totally different dynamic. And you can stop fullbacks all you want, but while you're stopping them fullbacks, you're leaving space for this fella that you weren't bothered about a couple of weeks ago when it was Genie Wijnaldum, but you're fucking bothered now. And that's just the way I see it. I could be wrong, but listen, it doesn't really matter if I'm right or wrong, because him and the team is just. I said it to you yesterday. If Virgil van Dijk is in that side and Thiago goes in there with Fabinho and Henderson, we cakewalk this league, and I mean we annihilate it. But we'll have to.
That's hypothetical now, though, isn't it? Like, in fairness, like,
it is. It is.
I think when Thiago gets in and settles, that's something to look forward to. That really is something to look for when he gets a run of games.
Like, the thing is, like, Chamberlain can even go in there now on that team and have an impact when he comes back. Like, we're still missing these players that can come in. So people are only kind of thinking about Virgil, of what we've lost with Virgil. But like Klopp said before the game last week, and people got, is he going to be out for ages? We haven't even had a chance to miss Thiago yet, because we haven't got to see exactly what he's going to bring to the team. Now, I see what you're getting, Gav, with the midfield three and him just being the one who'll cut you open. They can just pop the ball out to them. Hendo's capable of doing that as well. Obviously not to the level of THIAGO is, but THIAGO and Hendo in a two could be mental. Like there's not many, just because he's 5'8". There's not many midfielders in the world better than him at pinching the ball away from players, and I'm putting him in I'm putting him in the league of Kante when he's doing that. Look at how clean he wins the ball.
Yeah, but
look at how clean he forces turnovers. Toxic is in the chat. Liverpool and not the same. My God, cheap. Kane, Son, and Bale. Did you see what happened? Like, oh yeah, man, go away out of that. Stop out of that. Fucking hell.
What I would say is, Seany, though, if you go back to it, if you go to a 2, I'm not a big fan of the 2 because I do think it lessens the chances of your fullbacks getting forward. Right,
there's less Robbo yesterday, Gav.
I know that. But against better sides, I think we could be more open, right?
Gav, you're not going to play many better sides in Sheffield. No, set up, man. I'm telling you.
I know that, Seany, but you're probably going to play better with better quality up front to hurt you, right? And what I mean is, all I think about when I see the 2 is, I want Henderson right of a tree. I just want him there. Yeah. I feel so solid with him there, and not only that, he allows Trent and Salah to do whatever they're doing, right?
Yeah,
that's and if you're concentrating on trying to stop that, and you've THIAGO sitting on the left of a tree going, just give me if they want to pack that side of the park, give me I'll sort it. I'll still put Trent Alexander-Arnold in because it's what I do.
Agree with you in this. I don't think you see a 4-2-3-1 in any of Liverpool's big games this year. It's going to be 4-3-3. It's going to be 4-3-3.
Fair point.
You look at City a couple of weeks down the line, it's going to be like for games like West Ham on the weekend could be the perfect time for a 4-2-3-1. You know what I mean? When teams are penned in. I agree with you. It's going to be a 3 midfield for the likes of City, and I just hope we have Matip back because as good as he's been at centre back, Fabinho does so much in that midfield for us when he's in that midfield three. So, like, you'll think of a midfield three of Fabinho, Hendo, THIAGO. Like, you have everything you need there. Do you know what I mean? So, look, it's horses for courses now, and we have the horses.
That's the one.
We have the horses. We have the horses now.
See, I generally think the reason why we played yesterday, the formation we did and the team we did, is because of the lack of options we had in midfield to rotate. You got to remember, he wanted to ideally change the midfield completely, but Naby was unavailable, and Curtis, played in midweek. Milner had a long slog as well. So I think he kind of picked this formation, yes, to surprise Sheffield United and show them a different way, because we don't want to be predictable and get away from the 4-3-3, which we all said in the summer. This is what we're working towards. We're working towards, changing the style of play, changing the formations. And yes, it was based on sort of the surprise element. Also, we had to go with what we had. So, if THIAGO and Naby were available, then maybe the formation would have been different. But I think we've got the personnel to change this up. I definitely agree with Gav in terms of, I don't think it's the go-to formation in big games, but most certainly, and you got to remember, there's a lot of trash in this league. It's most certainly going to be used against the majority of the trash. And look, let's face it, barring 5-6 of teams, most of it is trash.
Matthews, great name. The point of
there you go. There's an echo in
here. He says, and it's a good point. He says the point of this discussion is options. Teams won't know what Liverpool is coming at them, which makes us a lot more predictable. That's a great point. There's a Spurs fan in here, and he asks, let me see. He asks who's better, Kane, Son, or Bale, versus Salah, Mane, Jota. Don't know why for me.
The ones who have won trophies.
Yeah. Show us our medals.
Yeah, well,
and he can Bale in that, but he hasn't won them at fucking Spurs, so he can try as he wants.
I think. Well, it was laughable last week what happened to them against West Ham. But I think Spurs are going to do really well this season. I think if they, I think they'll do well. I think they will. They're ones to watch this season.
I think Leicester will do well. Great manager.
Absolute bottle job. Fucking can't stand it. Don't mention it again. Or I will start playing back audio of you wanting Joe Gomez on the transfer list. Keith, Jota. This fella's, to me, is starting to look like a bargain, or whatever price we got him at. as Seany said earlier, when you have them four on the pitch and they're moving around, they're interplay, they're changing positions, and I thought he was good again. Yes, he's bedded in so well. He's got 2 goals already. You know, Arsenal and now against Sheffield United as a winner. It's looking very bright for him, isn't it? He just looks like a Liverpool player.
He does, and it's one of them. I said on a show recently, it reminds me of the Chamberlain deal. You know, a lot of people raised eyebrows when we spent big to get Jota in, but the change of scenery and the type of player he is just suits what we're doing. He suits us and we suit him. And, you know, without dragging the Timo Werner debate up, Jota looks more suited to us for what we're going to need from that type of player than what Werner would, where you're coming in, you know, you're not going to be starting games, you're going to be coming in when we need you, and it's all about press. Because if we were to go back to the 4-2-3-1 thing, if we're playing a front four with those 4 lads in it, or a throw a Minamino into a 4-2-3-1, you're winning the ball back, and you get through that line of defense, and then you're going into THIAGO and Henderson. It's another crusher to get through, you know. So it's all set up. It's all set up, Liverpool, the players they're bringing in, to be that bit more adaptable, to be that bit more less predictable in games. And Jota is just the perfect foil for that. You know, when we signed him, and I remember we had a Wolves lad on the night we signed him, and he was sort of like a great deal for us. He's run his course with us, and not dismissive, but sort of felt that we maybe got the raw end of that deal. It just looks the opposite now. He just looks so suited to us. I mean, the goal, his goals, you know, it's a good header up against it was an end of Stevens at the back post. You know, he gets up and heads it in well. All his goals are different. He doesn't have a set type of goal. It's right foot, it's left foot, it's header, it's a bit of everything. You know, he's really impressed.
Yeah, he has really impressed, I have to say. We need to move along, lads. We've only a couple of minutes left. I want man of the matches off you all. Grizz, I'm going to start with you first.
Listen, Joe Gomez. Yeah. You know me. When credit's due, I'll rip him when he plays bad, and that's the way it should be. But he's come on last few games and he's played like an absolute leader, which is what we needed from every single one of those back four to assume this leadership role. Joe Gomez for me.
Nice one. Seany.
Gomez, just excellent. He was brilliant. And then closely followed by Hendo, who I also thought was fucking unbelievable. He managed the game in the second half the way Milan probably would 2 or 3 years ago. You see him marauding up the left-hand side in the 98th minute. Like, there's supposed to be a fella whose legs are on the way out. Like, he wouldn't be able to run when he was 28 because of a bad gait. But yeah, they were both excellent. But Gomez for me was brilliant, and he will continue to grow. They will grow as a partnership. They'll have off days. They'll have good days. But the thing is, they will be good enough for the time that we need them. So yeah, and delighted Alisson was back as well. Obviously, a massive difference. You know what I mean? It didn't feel like I was taking years off my life every time the ball was going back into the box. So yeah, Gomez was excellent. Gomez man of the match for me.
Good stuff. Keith, for you?
Yeah, Gomez was man of the match for me as well. I thought Robbo was good. I agree with Hendo.
Robbo's player of the year so far.
Yeah, Robbo's is standard, you know. Will we ever see Tsimikas, you know, because it's one of them that Robbo was just playing so well. And I know that the season will go on, you'll need to be resting him. And you just hope you're getting that same type of player. But Robbo was just being up and down. He's been absolutely brilliant. Overshining Trent, but, you know, that's getting back to an earlier point. You know, Trent will have dips and he'll be doing good things as well. But Robbo's intensity, because he did come in for a bit of stick himself last season, and he's just upped his game this year. He's been amazing for us. But yeah, I think Gomez and Hendo will never get the credit. You know, some people that made a decision on Hendo will die on the hill that he's brutal and he can't pass and he can't dictate play and all that stuff. You have to see what this fella, like, you always tell you what this fella is doing. You don't need any other metrics to be looking at with Jordan Henderson. Just watch the games, listen to the games. You're in an unusual situation now where there's no crowd noise. You can hear Jordan Henderson through the game. You know, you can hear them telling people what to do and dictating it. You just have to appreciate what he's doing for this team. It's amazing. But yeah, I give it to Gomez as well.
Good stuff. I'm going to give it to Henderson. It's one of those where it's a change of system. He's in there with Wijnaldum. He's still coming back from an injury from last season. He's been in and out. He's looking to protect his back four. He's looking to get Trent away. He's doing everything. And don't get me wrong, I thought Gomez was brilliant. I thought Mane was very, very good as well. He hasn't got enough for mention for me. Salah looked sharp. Firmino looked a little bit sharp. I thought Jota was very good. Wijnaldum done a lot of donkey work. Didn't really impact stuff, but he done a lot of donkey work. But I just give it to Henderson. I think it was a game where you needed your captain, and I think he was very good at it. Last night, Kieran says, lads, I put this in the Flick app earlier. The Flick Sports app, of course, if you go in there, download it on Apple or Android stores, Flick Sport app, and just type in Trippers Chats if you want to enter via the group. Get in there and talk to Liverpool fans. He says, I put this in Flick earlier. What does Robbo need to achieve to surpass Kennedy as our best ever left back? I fucking hate more trophies. That's a simple answer to that. He's a brilliant left back. He's the best we've had since Rob Jones. Rob Jones was a brilliant left back as well. He played a lot of left back. No, he played a lot at left back.
Rob Jones didn't play a lot of football, full stop.
Yeah, I know, but when when Liverpool played the back five under Evans, Rob Jones played a lot of a left wing back as well. Yeah, you could put him in there. Listen, who else starts to fucking compare him to? You know, someone's going to tell you.
No, we've had awful left backs. We haven't had a good left back.
Yeah, and Alan Kennedy wasn't a great left back.
No, he wasn't.
Alan Kennedy wasn't, and anyone that watched Liverpool at the time will tell you that.
He scored a goal in the Champions League final, though. So yeah,
and got a winning penalty in another one as well. Like, you know, he's got a great record.
I don't know. I think you're looking at Robbo now. 3 years. You can count on one hand how many bad games he's had. If
77 wins and 100 appearances.
If he's not a shoe-in for the best left back we ever had, then I don't know. Because obviously, before my time, Liverpool dominated European football. But this fella has been phenomenal for
I've got you there. I've got you there before your time, Shawnee, and I'm telling you, this guy is on a par with anything of the greats. I'm telling you, he is so underrated when we talk about ranking him in terms of the best left back of all time for Liverpool. He's underrated, I'm telling you, in that sense.
Yeah, he's better than any of the shit that we've looked
at. I think it's a question to come to. It's a question to come back to in probably 2 or 3 years' time.
Exactly.
I think if you look at his win record and his ratio of trophies, he's doing very well. But I think if he adds another league title or two or the Champions League in there, he'd probably go down as one of the best left backs we've ever had. Yeah, 100%.
I mean, Jay Bambury says there, you know, Steve Nicol played everywhere for us. He was an amazing player. He's probably the best.
Steve Nicol was deadly.
Yeah, he's probably the best of our sort of generation without going back further and you're looking at Alec Lindsay or whoever played there in the 70s. You know, it's probably Steve Nicol at the moment.
Massive question from Peter Jones. He says, lads, before you go, I need some advice on the supper. I fucking have 11 at night.
Is that me in that picture?
It is, yeah. He said that earlier.
Cheese on. He said he was sorry for being late to the stream. He was sorting out his profile pic. I'm only realising what he's talking about now. He said, lads, before I go to bed, Peter's a lovely fella. Lads, before I go, I need some advice on the supper at 11:30 at night. This is the lunatic, isn't it, that puts pizza in the toaster? Yeah. Cheese on toast or cheese and biscuits? Cheese on toast. Cheese and biscuits.
Cheese and biscuits, yeah. That's
cheese on toast all day long. 100% cheese on toast. Or beans on toast with cheese on it. It's good.
Oh, no.
Yeah, it is good.
Beans or cheese, I don't like mixing them.
I had the cheese in toast yesterday. Like
cheese in it?
Yeah. You know, you close it up and you make it a toast.
Cheese toast.
One of those ones. Yeah, cheese toast.
Cheese sandwich you had.
with onions, with red onions in it as well.
Yeah, very good.
Cheese and onion toasty.
Yeah, no, cheese and onions good as well. Shawnee, before we go, how are we going to deal with this football messing where you can't celebrate goals and Is it's because it's doing your mallet in, is it? And I'm not going to let the other lads talk about it. I just want to get your thoughts on this because I know it's really upsetting you. Shawnee, what are you going to do to combat this? What would the A team do, Shawnee?
I don't know. They'd probably go into a shed and come out with a bleeding. Go into the shed with a few rubber bands and a calculator and drive out in a van or something. Yeah, something like that. Drive out in a G6 Learjet or something.
Yeah, that sound, lads.
I think football as a product now, I think Project Restart, we all bought into it because we didn't have football for 3 months and we wanted to win the league, really, well and truly. And we told ourselves that football without fans is grand, but it's not really. It's starting to wane on me now, this no fans business. Like Jota's goal yesterday, he should be running into the cop. He should be like, I was kind of like, it's a goal, what's going on? Oh, yeah, he's just turning around. Like it's now that was a good intense game of football. I say, don't get me wrong, but it's starting to grate on me between VAR, incompetent refs, no fans in the studio, over analysis in the studio, no fans in the stadium, over analysis in the studio, nitpicking, contrarianism, Jamie Carragher, Martin Tyler, Fletcher, fucking BT, just all of them, all these drips on the telly, like, and the talk of a European Super League. Like, I'm starting to wonder how long will it be before football is no longer recognisable.
Yeah, do you know what I think? I think a massive factor of the whole VAR experience is fans on the ground. Do you know that? Because that empty ground feeling, players are half celebrating anyway. When, like Salah scores now and he's kind of, yay, because there's no one there to celebrate with. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And then when you if you had fans on the ground, it's natural reactions to celebrate in front of fans. And, all right, I might get dragged back, but I know where you're coming from, Shawnee. It's reserved. It's become now where there's no celebrations at all. Unless you score from the halfway line, and there's nothing, no problem, you're not celebrating anymore. If there's any sort of doubt whatsoever, it is dragging around. And I think no fans on the ground is making it even worse because players don't have a reason to celebrate. All right, they scored a goal, and some may do big celebrations, but a lot of them now are kind of little high five, like back in the 80s. You remember when Liverpool used to score and fucking Kenny Dalglish used to fucking shake Ian Rush's hand as you're running back to the halfway line, and that's what they did. They used to go, oh yeah, well done, bud, and they'd run back to halfway line, probably go and get another one. And it's getting like that now, where it's I think that the no fans on the ground is actually hurting the players and the want to celebrate. Because they buzz off that. The adrenaline can't be running as much.
That's what it's about. Last 10 minutes of a game, needing a goal, getting wheeled over the line and stuff like that. It's just, that's all gone. That's completely gone out of the game now. And I don't think we realised how much that played into the spectacle of that football itself. It's shown football for what it is at the very root of it. Is like, it's a bit soulless at the moment. Like, the emotion has gone out of the game. The fans aren't in the ground. I think it's gone on too long now. I think I'll probably feel like this until there's some sort of stadium into the crowd in the stadium. Like, it's wearing on me now, and it's a fucking, I have to say, it gets me down that literally the best Liverpool team in the last 20 or 30 years, and we can't go and watch them. Like, it's shit. Like, because look, Gav, I met most of you lads going to football games and being able to travel and watch Liverpool, and that's all gone out of it as well. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's shy. And another thing that's played into it, and this might sound a bit like fucking armchair supporter, but unfortunately we're living in Ireland, us three. We can't even go to the pub and watch the football with our mates and talk shit about. Like, you're sitting in your sitting room watching, you can't turn around and say, what's the story with United yesterday? Is what shy, or what, vice versa. That's all gone. Like, it's all completely gone. It's shy. So I think they should null and void the season if any other team but us aren't top, and that's it.
Great idea. Grizz, quickly before we go, a lot of talk around Upamecano, Kabak. There's a couple more names being thrown in there. What do you think for January, Grizz? Do we make a move, or do we hold out, see what happens with Virgil between January and the end of the season, and then make a decision?
I know we haven't got much time to delve much deep into it, but I think we definitely bring in a centre back. It won't be Kabak.
Okay, Good stuff. I'm happy with that because he's spitting that fella.
Kabak spent, he went spitting. He's done. Forget about that.
Yeah.
That's, no chance.
The money they're thrown out by Kabak as well, it's scandalous.
Yeah.
The thing is,
Upa is the one we want. Upa is the one we want.
yeah, but that we won't get him for 42 million. We're gonna have to pay about 70 million for him.
If you want him in January, so that's why. I think we bring in we're bringing a centre back.
Does his buyout clause only activate after the season ends?
Yeah, kicks in next summer. Yeah, but they might. I agree. They probably have to go over that, and it'll all depend on how Leipzig are doing. But
Absolutely.
then they have a supply chain of players. They'll probably sell him. As Seany said, 40 is probably too low. You might have to go 60, 65, 70. But they'll have someone else just to bring in.
So many factors to look into yet, Keith. We've got to look into what situation we're going to be in January, situation they're going to be in January. So there's loads of times to build up.
See, this is where not going mad in this summer will help us, because we only threw out about 10 or 15 million in the end. Who we wanted to bring in with the Jota deal and the THIAGO deal. So this gives us a little bit of room here to manoeuvre. And you'd probably think we should be looking at a success at the Van Dijk now, because it's just pre-planning for the worst, isn't it? Because we still don't know what the story is. So
there needs, in the summer we all spoke about, looking for a centre back between 10 and 15 million, and we were talking about Ndicka, we were talking about Mandy, I think that's gone. That ship, I think, is sailed.
No, we need a Skriniar now. We need it. We need ready-made.
Yeah, I think the signing of a big centre half, a big name centre half, or a big money centre half that could have been a year down the line will have to be. That plan will have to be brought forward 6 months. They're going to have to bite the bullet, and instead of doing it next summer, I think they might do it in January. Look, I can't see Kabak happening after what he done to that player. I can't see it happening. If
we've learned that about these owners and their recruitment, is when something is a necessity, it will be addressed. And if they talk about Upamecano being the primary target, well, then I can't see us going for anyone else, because this is just the way we've been, isn't it? Unless I know we're Lewis and Tsimikas, but they were different. That's a backup left back. You know what I mean? This is big.
I know we don't normally, but that's why I think we may look at a loan market in January. I know it's not our way of doing it, but if we have to wait for Upper,
if we can't get Upamecano in January, I agree. Loan.
We just need to make sure nobody else gets him, because fuck me, as soon as that clause is active, there's going to be clubs queuing up for him. I reckon everyone.
It could be we have a sort of a decent relationship with the Red Bull group, and it could be a case of do a deal for him. Say, look, we'll take him in the summer.
Nabil style, that's what we're going to try to do. But let's see.
Well, let's see. Genie20 hashtag back in your box. Says lads, let's get the lads to 300 likes. I don't know how many likes it's at. We always say hit the like button if you like what we're doing. Subscribe, share, all that stuff. Peter Jones says he appreciates the show tonight. He's off to make his cheese on toast. We are one subscriber short of 6,000. One subscriber short. So if people want to hit that subscribe button and get us over 6,000, and we'll sort out something. We'll sort out something during the week with regards to a giveaway there. Kieran Thorne on a super chat says Klopp is already speaking to Upamecano. Don't worry about it. He seems confident. Happy days. Lads, that's it. We're going to go. It's been another brilliant show. Thanks a million to everyone for watching. Well done to Rajiv guessing Grizz's best cricket innings of 142. It's in the records down in Brisbane Road somewhere. Somewhere around the Brisbane Road
School for Boys.
There you go. Norrington School for Boys.
Own book said the bat is hanging up in Lord's Cricket Ground at the moment.
I heard listen, I'm not even going there. Do you know what I mean? We're over 6,000. 6,004 subscribers.
Oh, jeez, he's a great bunch of lads all together.
Great lads, aren't they? Listen, just keep liking, keep sharing, keep spreading the word. If you know any Liverpool fans that don't really watch stuff like this, just tell them to watch. It's about a bit of crack. We'll say what we think, and we'll always be like that. But thanks a million for the support. We're over 6,000. Avo says congratulations. Kev O'Sullivan says the same. So does Owen. A few people. Peter Jones says 6K is belter. So yeah, listen. we're trying our best. We're trying to bring you as much content as we possibly can. We're putting a lot of work in, not only on shows that you see us doing, we're doing a lot of work behind the scenes as well, as literally 7 days a week, all hours of the day and night. With regards to this week, tomorrow is Monday, so you're going to have the forum. On that tomorrow is Andy, Phil, Davo makes a long-awaited return, and Nilo. There's some brilliant topics. I have to be honest with you. I got the topics off the lads today. They will be out in detail tomorrow, but there's some brilliant stuff going on there. Liverpool, of course, play Midfield on Tuesday night. So what we're going to do is we're going to do our team news on YouTube on Tuesday night, an hour before kickoff, and then we'll be back with the midweek fix after the game with the match reaction. Wednesday, Thursday, nothing really happening, but you never know what might show up. And of course, Friday be Friday forecast, which are preview of all Premier League games. Mostly Liverpool, though. You know how it works. Seany, it's been an absolute pleasure. If anybody hasn't seen our A-team picture on Twitter earlier, I thought Grizz looked so natural, and then I looked at Seany and went, "Fucking hell!"
It's my fucking real pic.
Yeah, it's from college. And then I looked at Seany and thought, and then I looked at Keith and went, "Fuck, that is Keith in the cap." It's so fucking good. But Seany, it's been an absolute pleasure, and we'll talk to you soon.
Cheers, lads. Thanks for having us on. And Peter Jones, I appreciate you. That $5 is in the post, mate.
No problem. And Seany, as of course, head of everything, head of subscribers, Seany Lawson, would like to thank us all for getting us over 6,000. Grizz, aka BA, it's been a brilliant night. We're sorry for pointing out that you wanted Joe Gomez thrown out of Liverpool Football Club and Athletic Grounds. We apologise. Have a really good week ahead of me. Talk to you soon.
That's sorry.
That's all right. Someone did say earlier, all I can see is a floating head when I look at Grizz. I can't see anything below that. Obviously, in relation to the T-shirt you're wearing. Is there a big logo on that one?
Always a big logo. You know me and logos.
Loves a massive logo. Keith, it's been a pleasure. You haven't got slagged tonight over what you're wearing, which is always a bonus. People are leaving you alone. But we're
he was hardly going to come in a BA Baracus and that way bleeding camo, was he?
Yeah, that's
well,
true.
this is it. You know, we didn't get a chance to touch on it, but I was ready for war today.
Yeah, good stuff. But nobody has abused Keith for what he's wearing, which is great. But we're going over 6K, so that could happen. That could happen. Well, usually when you wear a Barcelona top, people go mental at you, don't they? And you know, then you turn up, then you try and impress Peter Smith's board by wearing Columbia stuff and all. Yeah.
What can he say?
Keith's a football man. You know, he's continental, he's international. Yeah. You know, man of all the colours and flavours.
A new top independent.
Benetton. Fucking Benetton.
There you go. I was just going to say, he's probably going to come out with a Corinthians top next week, but he's coming out with
United colours of Benetton.
That's the one.
Right, we're out of here. It's been good. It's been great. It's been the Fatback 4. Over and out.